Our first question is if you could tell the folks briefly a little bit about your journey to or with confidence, because I think we all know it's an ongoing journey. It's never a plateau that you stay on. It's something that comes and goes for me personally quite a bit. Let's start with Charlie.
Hi, everybody. So I guess I would say that my journey with confidence started probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I started doing aerial. I was trying to lose weight. I was engaged. I was like, I'm going to get fit and do all this stuff. And back then I had a lot of negative self-talk that was floating around in my head. I was engaged and I didn't want to be a plus size bride. And I was really kind of toxic about all that. And I started losing weight and I started working on myself. And then I ended up not getting married. And a lot changed in my life. Right? I'm fine. I'm happy. We're doing a lot better. It's been a few years. But it kind of triggered me to really refocus on who I was as a person. I only knew myself in this version of me, in this relationship. I was very much consumed by my relationship. And so I was newly single, newly fit, looking real good, feeling good about myself, because I always stress with working out and losing weight. Losing weight is not the glow up. It's the fact that you decided you wanted to do something and you stuck with it long enough to actually do it. That changes your brain more than it changes your body. I've gained that weight back, I've lost it again, and I've gained it again since then. But I know myself that I'm capable, and that's really the main glow up when it comes to weight loss. So I started losing the weight, I started feeling good about myself, I started doing a lot of work on myself. And I kind of gained confidence through that journey of coming to know who I am. Because if you're trying to be somebody else, or you're trying to be who you think you're supposed to be in a relationship or anything like that, it's really hard to feel confident because you're second guessing everything. So I learned how to be myself and actually apply myself to every situation. And then now I'm doing better with the confidence situation. So that's my main little thing.
Awesome. I love that. And thank you for pointing out that the glow up of working out is really in committing to yourself and following through. Vanity, let's hear from you.
Hello, I'm Vanity. No, okay, hi. So yes, where my self-esteem journey really started was kind of from a place of unhappiness. I was married for a year, for half a second. And I wasn't thrilled with that. And I remember that we had a big house in the suburbs, and there were all these things where it was everything that I had been told would make me happy and fulfilled. 2-car garage, house in the suburbs, stable, loving husband, he's fine. But I was really unhappy. And I couldn't figure out why those things weren't bringing me personal fulfillment. And I figured out that even after changing all those things, because I live in the suburbs now, and I'm not married now, and I don't have a 2-car garage, I'm happier now today without those trappings that they told me I should have, because it was never really about any of those external things. It was really I would have been unhappy anywhere, surrounded by anything, because I was unhappy with myself. And just literally my journey has just been figuring out what makes me happy, and it changes week to week. But it's my journey to self-confidence, just finding all the things that bring me joy, and rejecting the things that, even though maybe they're supposed to, when you think of media, those things don't bring me joy. So that's my journey. That was where my journey started.
Yeah, fabulous. Yeah, it's true. It's not about what's outside, it's about what's inside. All right, Luna.
Good morning, everybody. So my journey with confidence has pretty much been a lifelong journey. I'm not even gonna lie. I have always looked, growing up, let me start there. growing up in the 80s and 90s, kind of the ideal body image back then was more of like the Pamela Anderson, really tan and blonde and big bosoms, and that is not at all what I ever looked like. And so having that kind of as my media stream feed when I was trying to develop my self-esteem, I think really put a hiccup on how I felt about myself starting way back then. So it was really for as long as I can think of, I was like, why don't I look like what I see as the idealistic body on any media that's being fed to me? And so from that point, I was constantly comparing myself and trying to either be something that I wasn't, much like the other two priestesses have said. And it wasn't until I was actually in my mid-30s and started seeing burlesque artists and started seeing people who were fair porcelain skin and not tanned, who had different colors hair than blonde, who were different body shapes and sizes, and who were adored and revered and loved for exactly the body shape and size that they were online, was the first time that I was like, huh, maybe it's not something that's wrong with me. Maybe it's something that's wrong with what's fed to us. So it's a serious like aha moment once you realize that that has happened. And so then I started broadening my spectrum of the media that I was consuming to more people who were like-bodied and like-minded where I was coming from. And it was at that point that I really started to identify that I could be something that I idealized, and trying to figure out how I could make that happen for myself was a lot of learning how to unlisten to the negative self-talk that I have. In my house, we call it CGB, which is called crazy girl brain. Not to say that people of all genders or non-genders or binary or anywhere along the spectrum don't all have that, but in my house, we call it crazy girl brain. And turning that off to not listen to that voice was it's still a hard struggle every single day. One of the things that I like to do is I like to come up with an affirmation word. Sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's for a whole year. So the first one that I came up with was when I started my burlesque journey, and it was the word shine. And it was that I was going to shine. And so I have it actually written. I got a wax pencil because I always wanted one of those. And I wrote it on my mirror. And I wrote it on the mirror that I get ready in every single day. And every day I look at that affirmation on my mirror and it says, I will shine. And when I'm getting myself ready for the day, I look at that and I remember that it's not, I'm gonna, when I get there, like I wanna shine, but I'm not really there yet. It's like, I am right now. I'm putting on the face and doing the thing, and I'm gonna be shiny today. So my journey to confidence with confidence is a daily affirmation. It's a daily process where I remind myself that I deserve to be confident, that I deserve to be loving myself. And I think it'll probably be a struggle, a journey that I'll be on for the rest of my life. The other thing about confidence is it's super important to me as the High Priestess of Fluff to share that confidence, to help other people, other humans find that confidence within themselves and help everybody to shine. So my confidence is internal journey and rounding up all the people so they can be confident too.
Yes, I feel that from you so much. I love that. Of course, when we started this, I was like, I'm just going to let the High Priestesses talk and I'm not going to share my journey. But as I was listening to all of you, mine is different. And so I do want to share it in case this is supportive to anyone and it helps, you where you're at. So I never had, well, now I have bigger boobs than I ever did before. So I, like Luna, grew up in the 80s when that was kind of what was held out there as the ideal. But I was always very thin growing up, and I danced almost all my life and fit that dancer body, kind of like ballet dancer body thing. And I got I think I got a lot of mileage in life because of how I looked, quite honestly. And so I don't know that when I was ever younger, I struggled with confidence. I had always kind of had people telling me they thought I was attractive or, giving me a leg up, that sort of a thing. And I think for me, it landed differently. Thin doesn't equal healthy. You know, unfortunately, our society tends to think that, but it doesn't, because there were many times I was living very unhealthy lifestyle. And I don't think I always thought about things very deeply. It was kind of on a surface level, and it was things that people had been putting on me, and I didn't necessarily have myself in it. I wasn't really asked to come to terms with my own feelings or things like that. It was more about looks and how I was perceived. And so, you know, I learned really on in life, just by how kids were and how things were, that it was, you got more mileage out of being a pretty fun girl than out of being a smart girl, a smart, sensitive girl, which is who I am really. And so I switched when I was quite young. Actually, it was like between 4th and 5th grade. I can pinpoint it because I was getting picked on and bullied and all that sort of stuff because I was like a nerdy smart girl. And I was fine with that, but I felt really left out. And so then I, like my 5th grade, like, you know, I wore the fluffy dresses and did all that thing, and it kind of carried on for a long time, and even into my young adulthood, and like angels looking out for me that I didn't make horrible mistakes being the party girl. You know, like I tell people, like, I was fun to a fault, and I was in very dangerous and not good positions a lot of times in my life where I could have hurt myself or other people because I thought that was what I needed to do to be loved. And then I got older, thankfully, and reconnected with good friends who truly loved me for who I was. And I was still kind of like had that, you know, fun party thing going on for quite a while. But, you know, started to mellow out, started to calm down, started to find more sustenance in myself and in doing meditative practices like yoga and spending quieter time with people. And then I became a mom, and my world shifted big time. My body changed big time. My relationship to my body changed big time. And I got rocked to the core and had to really find myself all over again and rebuild myself for what was meaningful and important to me in my life, and release it being the external container and focus on it being what I needed inside to feel whole and good. And it was a rough process, really rough for me and for everyone around me. Like, it almost blew up my marriage, just trying to figure out who I was and find my way back to my joy. And I, you know, as Luna said, it's not a consistent thing. It ebbs and flows, and it's a constant process of checking in with what I value and focusing on those things, and letting my gratitude for those things fill me up, rather than relying on what's coming in so much from the outside. It's my appreciation of, you know, the things that come to me because I put good things out there that have made a difference. So anyway,